Benny the Honey Bear and the Bees. One time, deep in the enchanted Willow Woods, lived a big, fluffy bear named Benny. Benny the bear was not just any bear, he was a bear with a very peculiar talent. He had the extraordinary ability to sniff out honey from miles away. His nose was practically a honey radar, and everyone in the forest knew it. One bright, sunny morning, Benny's nose twitched. Sniff, sniff. It picked up the scent of honey so sweet it made his stomach rumble. The source of this heavenly aroma? The hive of Bella the bee, the busiest, bossiest bee in the woods. Benny's eyes sparkled with excitement. Honey, he said, his voice soft and dreamy. But how am I going to get some of that honey? Bella is one tough bee. Benny decided to try his luck anyway. He waddled over to Bella's hive, a massive structure perched high in an ancient oak tree. Bella, who was buzzing around organizing her worker bees, spotted Benny immediately. "Hold it right there, Benny," she buzzed, putting one tiny wing on her hip and waving her other wing like a traffic cop. "Oh, Bella," said Benny with his best innocent smile, "I was just, admiring your hive." "It's so beautiful." Bella narrowed her eyes. "Admiring my hive? Or my honey?" Benny gulped. "Well, maybe both." Bella sighed. She knew Benny wouldn't give up easily, so she decided to make a deal. "All right, Benny, I'll let you have some honey, but only if you complete 3 tasks for me." Benny was so excited he did a little bear dance. 3 tasks? That's easy. What's the first task? Bella thought for a moment and said, "You need to help carry 100 flowers back to the hive without eating or squashing any of them." Benny scratched his head, then looked down at his big, clumsy paws. This might be harder than he thought. Benny set off on his flower-finding mission. He found a meadow full of colorful blooms and began carefully plucking flowers, placing them gently in a pile. Every few minutes, though, his stomach would grumble, and he'd pop a flower in his mouth. Just one little snack, right? After a few hours, Benny proudly returned with 37 flowers. Bella crossed her arms. "Benny, where are the other 63 flowers?" Benny grinned sheepishly. They were just too delicious." Bella rolled her eyes. Fine, let's move on to the second task." For the second task, Bella asked Benny to dance the Wiggly Waggle Bee dance in front of all her friends. "It's a dance that bees use to tell each other where the best flowers are," she explained. "You have to do it just right." Now, Benny wasn't much of a dancer. His moves were more like shuffle, stumble, trip. But he gave it his best shot. He wiggled and waggled, flopped and fumbled, and even did a spontaneous somersault. All the little bees buzzed with laughter. They thought Benny's interpretation of the dance was hilarious. Benny, completely out of breath, plopped down on the ground. Bella tapped her foot. "Not exactly what I had in mind, but you know what? You did get a good laugh out of everyone, so I'll count it." Benny gave her a big bear grin. "So, honey now?" "Not yet," said Bella, who was now smiling too. "There's one last task." This time, Bella handed him a tiny jar and said, "I want you to catch the golden pollen from the special sunflower in the middle of Willow Woods. It's magical and only blooms for a few minutes every day." Benny nodded. He marched through the forest, finally spotting the golden sunflower shimmering in a sunbeam. It was breathtaking. He reached out carefully and whoosh! The wind picked up, sending the golden pollen flying up and around. "Oh no!" Benny yelped. He began running in circles, arms stretched out, trying to catch the flying pollen in the jar. Benny ran, he jumped, he even tried to blow the pollen back down from the air. He looked so silly that a passing squirrel nearly fell over laughing. But finally, miraculously, one tiny speck of golden pollen floated right into the jar. Benny dashed back to Bella, out of breath, holding up the jar. I did it. The golden pollen." Bella peered into the jar. "Well, I was hoping for a little more, but you've worked hard enough. And you know what, Benny? You did make us all laugh, and that's worth more than honey." With that, Bella flew into her hive and came back with a big, gooey honeycomb just for Benny. "Here you go, Benny. Enjoy it." Benny's face lit up. He took a huge bite, savoring the sweetness. "Thank you, Bella. You're the best bee in the world." As he waddled back to his den, honey dripping from his face, Bella chuckled and shook her head. Benny might be a little clumsy and a little greedy, but he sure knew how to make her and all her bees laugh. From that day on, Benny and Bella became the best of friends, sharing honey and laughter in Willow Woods for years to come. And every time Benny's nose caught a whiff of honey, he remembered his honey hunting adventure and smiled. The end.